I've been working with these issues over the last 2 years, doing studies on the creative industry in Sweden. Did job for the Swedish Producers Association, and some other minor outlooks on the production situation, and especially looking at the future. So here is a couple of reflections based on this Nordic experience. Okay. I thought about heading this little presentation "Road to Perdition," but it's too negative, I think. So I just don't look back. Of course, it's a reference to Pennebecker's Dylan documentary that, in a way, said, "Let's move on. The future must at least be better," sort of. And it's also a reference to another seminar on the same topics that we had the other night, where someone said that too many in this industry is heading towards the future with the back first. They go into the future in reverse. They are unwillingly to actually look at what's happening. So here's a few reflections, as I said. First, public support. It's essential. Wherever you are positioned in this industry, whatever you are producing or distributing or making, without public support, it wouldn't work at all. It's the public, though in relation with the private, that makes it happen. And the paradox here is, and it's no rocket science, a lot of people have pointed at this, it's the public support systems in Europe and the broadcasters, the public service TV, the free TV, that guarantees production of the content. But then it's handed over to the market that take care of this product, and they do it single-handed. This strange relation must be regulated, and that can only be regulated through political measures. In Europe, we have different ways to deal with this political measure things, more or less successful. And for this discussion, it's just one thing that must be clear. There will be no films without public support. But its intervention logic, the public support system's intervention logic, must change. It must adapt to the new realities. Okay? A few words on consumer powers. Jonathan talked about it, Johanna talked about it, but new techniques have put the consumer in first position. Everyone is their own curator. Over the last few years, the consumer has made a very strong argument how they want it done. The industry has, I think, probably listened, but have given absolutely no answer, at least not the right answer. Another prerequisite is the formats. What is a film nowadays? Any format will actually do. This is already a part of the broadcasters' agendas and all the web-based platforms' agendas. They know this. But it must be dealt with also by the support systems. Another thing which is interesting, today's vibrant and exciting intellectual public discussion on moving images, on film, deals with TV series and web-based expressions in the same manner as you look at edgy art house movies, or even more intensely. That means something. The format is no longer the issue, not in the mind of the consumers, but it's an issue elsewhere. When it comes to financing, we're still in the era of madman. It's true. So, business models. No, protectionism. Yes, this is interesting. Since the 50s, when the cinema theaters was the only way you could see a film, the old model stands. For every new device, you know this, but for every new device or screen that comes in the hand of the consumers, the exhibitors, in cooperation with the major distributors, has managed to have all other contenders stand in line. It's a sort of holdback terror that stands, and it's in the protection of just one window. Of course, it's understandable. Of course, you protect your own business. What is strange, which is the paradox, is that all others let them, and that they actually have someone that helps them out against better judgment. Why is that? Okay, I think it has to do with the business models. There is a lack of new realistic business model. You know what we have? We all say that. Okay, we know what we have, but we don't know what we get. This is a very defensive attitude. We know that DVD is dying, and everybody says that VOD is not delivering. Why is it not delivering? It sure does deliver to some, and it's picking up speed when new material is added. We know this. The more new material, the better the business. We will certainly talk more about that later, but it's a catch-22 situation. But the issue of business model doesn't give the whole answer to why the old model still stands. Here comes another, I think, well-grounded suggestion. Our public support systems today is counterproductive. I remember a seminar just a few years ago in Cannes. I know Mike was there. It was, I don't know if you remember it, but it's hosted by a lawyer at the DG competition in the European Commission. It was in preparation for the new cinema agreement, the one that we haven't got yet, you know. Shorten the windows and thus increase the revenues through a rapidly growing VOD market. That was the call at that seminar from most of the present producers, financiers, and distributors. The French institute, CNC, you know who they are, they stood up immediately. They said that this would ruin the film financing system in France. It would piss off their exhibitors and their distributors. That was the main concern. Not the producers, not the consumers, not the filmmakers or the artists. And as you know, they have a law in France that protects the 4-month window. So public and private, in France at least, goes hand in hand in support of just one of the players. But it looks the same, more or less, in all the other European countries. There is a willingness to protect a single window, and the public support system goes along with that. This preserves the current model, not by force, of course, we have to remember that, but the public support systems are making it economically insane not to go along with the model. Our box office support system here in Sweden that Jonathan mentioned, of course, because it's called box office system, it's built totally on theatrical. And that means that the technical neutrality that's in the film agreement is worth nothing compared. Who would kill the possibility to get some money? Furthermore, in Sweden, the film agreement, you know, that's a cooperation between the state and the exhibitors and the major distributors. It's a Swedish way to regulate how public and private goes together. But this preserves the monopoly that you as a producer, for example, or a small distributor can't challenge without heavy losses. Okay, they say that the big screen is almost the optimal goal for most filmmakers, of course, but it should not exclude all other ways to reach a consumer and make some money. And it's strange that it's not true, really, if you're an exhibitor. It's not true that the film is best in the theater. It's only best for the period that you own the window. Then it's best somewhere else. So we need to really look at this. Finally, rule breakers. The producers are the ones that take the highest risks, and they are the ones that loses the most in the actual system we have now. The public-private joint venture mistreats the majority of the independent producers. That's a fact. It really doesn't matter if the film is a success. Small revenues will be the result because most of the rights have been sold out to be able to produce the film. And that means there is no incentives to follow the product through the window chain. And there are no financial power left if you want to negotiate, for example, with a VOD platform. But there is no one else that can produce the material, and or the next series or the next whatever. And the producers are the ones that could really profit from a new business model. So a question here is, are the producers maybe joining forces to be the necessary rule breakers? Because we will need rule breakers to keep change, bring about change. Or is it maybe the broadcasters that actually have managed to adapt to the new environment better than many other? Maybe they can be the ones that break the rules. Or is it the Netflixes or other new locally based but globally owned web-based platforms? Or are there a new player out there that we don't know anything about, that just come down the corridor and shock us all? Okay, thanks.